This is 38-year-old Udell Bruno who lives in Maryland, and if you ask me, I think this is a perfect description of someone who is unwell. Her boyfriend was 40-year-old Shimato Clark, and allegedly they had been having some issues. Upon further looking, Udell actually had some charges for domestic assault back in 2005. I'm not really sure what triggered in her, but I'm assuming her and Shimato had an argument. She then got into her car and hit Shimato with it. Unfortunately, he did succumb to his injuries and passed away. Being that this just happened on August 20th, like literally a week ago, she's still awaiting charges. What do you think that she should be charged?
This is maybe the scariest urban legend I've ever heard, and it ended up being true. Back in the 1970s, there was this terrifying funhouse in Long Beach, California called the Laugh in the Dark. And there was always this urban legend that all the mannequins inside were fake, except for one. Also, mind you, this is what this week's episode is about, so if you don't want spoilers, just listen to the episode. This urban legend came to be because there was one mannequin inside that just looked wrong. All of the other ones looked fake, but this one in particular looked way too human. And a bunch of the kids also said the area that the mannequin was in just smelled really, really bad. So a few years go by, and one day a film crew comes in and is using Laugh in the Dark for a film set. The director's lining up a shot, and he just doesn't like the way this one mannequin looks in frame. So he goes over to a crew member and he's like, hey, can you just move this out of the shot? So the crew member goes over and starts moving the mannequin when its arm pops off. And inside of the mannequin's arm is human bone. The kids had been totally right. The mannequin was a mummified body. There's so much more to this story, like who the person was and how they got there, and I talk about the whole thing this week on the episode. This is the story of the girl who was kidnapped twice by the same man. Jan Broberg was just 12 years old the first time she was taken by her neighbor. His name was Robert Berchtold, and he was an expert manipulator. Leading up to the kidnapping, he had convinced her parents that she needed to sleep in the same bed as him for therapy. He had even convinced both her mother and her father to sleep with him. One day in 1974, Berchtold picked up Jan to take her horseback riding, but instead he took her to Mexico. While they were there, he convinced her that she was an alien and needed to conceive his child in order to save the human race. And because she was a child, she believed him. The abuse carried on until Jan was 16 and realized that he had been lying to her this entire time. But now she's telling her story because she's an executive producer on the Peacock show A Friend of the Family. Not only do I love this because the story will be told in a way that's approved by Jan, but it also means that she gets to profit from the show in a way that most true crime survivors don't get to. Let me know if you plan on watching.
The black guys had respect for me immediately, so that protected me from the black guys who might have wanted to come see me in a certain way, or maybe, try to fucking tune me up or extort me. So I had that going for me. But most importantly, I was selled up with a shot caller. That man's name was Jimmy DeSort. And to this day, I am convinced, I know, in fact, that he is the reason that I walked out of that place alive. So Jimmy was the shot caller for the whites on our particular prison yard. Every max yard in the country, doesn't matter what state you're in, has a shot caller for each race. So the blacks have their own shot caller, the Latins, or the SAs as we called them, the white guys, and the others. And of course, the others is a gang that has Egyptians, Native Americans, Eskimos, you name it, right? Filipinos. Each racial group has their own shot caller. We called them the key holder.
I put enough fentanyl to kill 10 people in my 9-month-old daughter's bottle. I am a 17-year-old mom with a 9-month-old daughter. My daughter and I had a bond like none other. We would spend every waking hour of the day together, and my life had gotten so much better since she entered it. However, one night in June of 2023, I was really tired and needed some sleep. But my daughter kept crying and keeping me awake. So I grabbed her bottle, filled it with baby formula, and then I added cocaine to it. I figured this would get her to sleep quickly, and then I would finally be able to fall asleep. However, what I didn't know is that the cocaine I had was laced with loads of fentanyl. Fentanyl is an extremely dangerous drug and kills thousands of people every week. I woke up from my nap, and that's when I saw my baby wasn't breathing. I tried CAR, but it was too late. After medical professionals examined her, they found she had enough fentanyl in her body to kill 10 people. I am currently accused of aggravated manslaughter as well as possession of a controlled substance. Due to my young age, my official name has not been yet released. Follow for more stories.
This chilling footage is of a cop killer who cannot seem to stop smiling in court. He killed 2 police officers and wishes he had killed even more cops.
I wish I killed more of those mother. I will break out soon and I will kill more.
His day at court was dramatic, to say the least.
On his first day of trial, Bracamontes yelling out that he knows what he did and that this trial is a waste of time. He even called one of his victims a coward.
And his behavior gets even more disturbing. He can be seen chuckling away to himself when given details about the murders.
And there's blood everywhere. He's been hit. And he yells, I'm hit, I'm hit, I'm hit.
As the prosecution laid out the horrific details, Bracamontes laughed.
In a previous trial, where no cameras were allowed, reporters remarked at how relaxed he was when being on trial for murder.
He was easygoing, lighthearted, turned to us in the gallery. Hey, how are you guys doing today?
He then just casually asked for the death penalty.
At that point, the defendant suddenly announced, quote, I'm guilty, I killed those cops, I want the execution, I'm guilty.
These girls are force-fed to be fat. They're taken to fattening farms in the middle of the desert, where they are fed the equivalent of 30 cheeseburgers a day. Obviously, these girls can't handle that amount of food. Like, look how small they are. So this happens. And if they refuse to eat, they are beaten. They also put illegal drugs in this food to make them gain weight faster. These girls are sent here by their parents. In this last 2 to 3 months. This all happens because here, girls get married like before they're 15. And the bigger the girl, the easier it is for them to find a husband. And obviously this is really important to their families, and so this is why their families send them here. And obviously force-feeding people or trying to gain or lose weight really quickly is really dangerous for your health. So when this all happens, these girls get really, really sick. It's not only like headaches and vomiting, this increases their risk of developing really severe diseases. People from this camp have developed diabetes, heart disease, liver failure, kidney failure. And part of this is because of the extra stuff that they put in the food. Like, they're literally given animal steroids to get them to gain weight faster. Part 2 is already up. Follow my TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube for more if you like my content. It really helps when you interact.
Hora del cuento sobre cómo fui acosado por lo que, honestamente creo que, fue un asesino en serie en 2020. Este tipo se mudó a mi complejo de apartamentos al final del pasillo de mí. El primer encuentro con este tipo fue en los pasillos, en su movimiento en el día. Me miró y lo primero que me dijo fue: ¿me tienes miedo? Pensé que parecía un poco extraño, pero luego me di cuenta de que se estaba mudando al apartamento de mi mejor amigo. Así que le envié un mensaje de texto a mi mejor amigo y le dije: oye, tu nuevo compañero de cuarto parece un poco raro. Ten cuidado. Los días siguientes, sigo encontrando a este hombre donde quiera que vaya. Estaba en el ascensor conmigo. Salimos del ascensor. Al mismo tiempo, me doblé hacia atrás para asegurarme de que nadie me siguiera. Y él exactamente al mismo tiempo, se asomó por detrás de la pared. Se escondía detrás. Hicimos contacto visual y se rió. Esta risa demoníaca malvada. Y descubrió que apartamento era el mío. Yo estaba como, oh Dios mío, ¿cómo? ¿Qué debo hacer? Llamé a la policía, pero la policía no me tomó en serio. Voy al apartamento de mi mejor amigo y obviamente el acosador y él comparten la misma unidad de apartamento. Mientras salgo con él y un grupo de otros amigos, el acosador comienza a caminar de un lado a otro por el apartamento con un hacha en el hombro y un casco, simplemente paseando, sin decirle una palabra a nadie, simplemente paseando de un lado a otro con un hacha. Luego procede a bloquear la puerta así. Este tipo tiene 19 años y está desgarrado con esteroides. Este tipo ni siquiera podía caminar normal debido a su masa muscular y está parado bloqueando la puerta para que nadie pudiera entrar y nadie pudiera salir del apartamento. El tipo de la unidad finalmente sale del apartamento, pero regresa, y cuando regresa, está extremadamente cabreado. Entra en su habitación y está tirando cosas. Sale y el perro que vive en el apartamento comienza a gruñir. Este perro amaba a la gente, pero podía sentir una energía muy demoníaca. Mire al tipo acosador para ver por qué el perro gruñe. Este tipo tenía el brillo más demoníaco en sus ojos que he visto. No puedo describirlo. Todo lo que sabía es que vi el mal y la oscuridad, y en ese momento estaba aterrorizado. Todos mis amigos estaban jugando videojuegos, por lo que no estaban prestando atención a lo que estaba pasando. Una vez que llamé su atención, les dije que no es seguro. Aquí, tenemos que irnos. Y no sabían de lo que estaba hablando, pero les dije que me iba, y me levanté, y me fui. Sin embargo, algunos de mis amigos me siguieron. Cuando salí de ese apartamento, lloré a mares y me dijeron: Sis, ¿qué pasó? ¿Cómo? ¿Por qué estás molesto? ¿Cómo? Solo estábamos colgando. ¿Cómo? No entiendo. Así que les dije exactamente lo que vi. Mis amigos que se quedaron atrás intentaron hablar con él y ver por qué estaba enojado. Y esto es lo que dijo el chico acosador. Les dijo que tenía complejo de Dios y que había venido a la tierra para purificarse. Lo inmundo, se acabó el tiempo, pero la parte 2 ya está publicada.